Okay, here we are back in Unity, and we're going to take a look at catching shadows so that they fall into the reality of the viewer's background. And so here we have a break dancer doing a number of animations. These are all just connected together in a loop, and this sort of shows how you can use the animator to string together a number of animations and how it'll blend between them. And so what we need to do in the ARConnexSetup package, in the resources folder, we have a couple shaders that we included to aid in this. And the one we're going to be looking at is the ShadowCatcher. And so all we need to do, we have a directional light in here lighting our character. We want to make sure that we have shadows turned on for that particular light. And we can take a look at our sizing reference plate, and it'll just confirm that these shadows are indeed being cast. Normally we don't want the strength to be completely at 1 because that shadow will be just simply too dark, and so we normally set it to about midway. That's usually good. And what we need is a plate similar to this that'll catch our shadows. And so we'll select our top object and create it's called a quad, which is just a flat plate. And we'll need to rotate that 90 degrees to make it flat underneath of him. And then we want to scale this up to make sure that it catches all of the shadows in the area that he's working with. So I don't want to go too big, but just big enough to ensure that we grab and catch all these different shadows. And I think we can move that back since the shadows are a bit behind him. And that should do it. And so what the ShadowCatcher is going to do, it's going to make everything that's not a shadow transparent, and then just keep the shadow. And so the shader is already part of this surface. You can tell the surfaces by the round icon on them. And we really just need to assign this to the quad that we just created. We can do that either by dragging it onto the quad itself in the scene window or dragging it onto the quad up here. Either way will work. And we just run through this once just to make sure that the shadows are being caught everywhere. And it looks like that'll work just fine. And so now we have the shadows casting into whatever the floor plane will be, or the target image plane. And right now we just need to make a asset bundle. From that, we'll assign the asset bundle name, and then we can just use our standard asset bundle browser to export that particular package, which is this one here. And these other ones we don't need any longer. We can just get rid of these from previous tutorials. And so here's all the elements that are part of that particular character and his motions. And so now we just go ahead and build them for iOS and Android. And then we'll take a quick look at that and how it looks outside using the ground plane to place it. And then we'll look at the portal shader next.